Welcome back to the channel. We are reviewing another hip-hop album here today, and today we're looking at Grit and Grace by Rich Amiri. Rich Amiri is a rapper who I have became a fan of over the past, I want to say, year or so. I'd say I'm a fan. I like Rich Amiri pretty good. I remember when he first started popping off with that Ghetto Fabulous album. The only full album I've ever listened to by him, though, is War Ready, which the review is on this channel for. I remember trying to buy a vinyl for it, and I backed out of it because it looked like they were never going to ship. I don't know what the status on that is. If they're still available and like people were receiving them, I might go try and find one. But anyway, he dropped a new project called Grit and Grace. He dropped a couple singles. In and Out was a single, and there was one more, but I don't really remember what it was. In and Out's a banger. So that's one of my favorite songs off this album. Little spoiler. I have to say that I think this is a pretty solid album. I do like it. I think it's pretty good. A couple forgettable parts about it. There's only a few songs on here that I actually ever come back to, but that doesn't mean to say that any of it's particularly bad. It's just not necessarily my vibe for what I come to Rich Amiri for. A lot of stuff is good here. So Long is a good intro, and it's also an introduction to what at least I don't necessarily see that much of Rich Amiri doing. Maybe he does it in his older music and I just don't know about it, but more of a calmer vibe on this album as compared to his last two. I feel like Ghetto Fabulous or War Ready. Just calmer, more chilled out. Calmer beats, calmer rapping, not necessarily going as aggressive or as hard as he usually does. It's more of a chill, laid back type of sound. And you know what? Because of Rich's voice and the production on this album, which is very good by the way, I think it works really well on here. Sorry, but like I keep on like covering up a burp. Whenever I eat and I start talking, it's just a problem. I want to burp really bad, but like it's not an actual burp, it's like a hiccup. Anyway, um, I like the chill vibe. It is nice. A couple times on the album, I want to say around Hose Mad and Homesick. No. In That Mode and Never Have I and Brick Brick. Whenever you have three chiller songs like that in a row with just Rich Amiri sound, it gets a little slower, it gets a little repetitive because I mean Rich Amiri's not a lyrical genius and his beats don't differentiate that much, and he himself doesn't differentiate that much. But I will say for Rich Amiri being the only artist, if I'm not mistaken, there's no features on here, right? Yeah, for being the only artist on a 16 track project, I think he actually does about as best of a job as you can ask him to in terms of keeping attention and doing this and that, just that type of stuff. You don't ever need to hear someone else's voice or want to hear someone else's voice, but the thought would be nice, maybe a couple other voices to help you out here and there. I don't think they'd hurt. Not saying every album needs features, but I do think on an album like this, it would have benefited it, especially if you get the right ones. I think it would have helped out Grit and Grace a lot here. Harder songs are still pretty good on here. First one is actually the second track of the album, Lights Out. What's the other one? In and Out. There's one more. I think it's Party Rock, if I'm not mistaken. Party Rock. The three pretty hard songs, going crazy. You kind of whenever you think of Rich Amiri, the sound that immediately pops in your head is those three songs, and I think they all three work pretty well. Lights Out's one of my favorite songs on the project. That's one of my favorite Rich Amiri songs in general. Flex and Finesse is also a banger. That's another one that I wanted to call out to the stand. So was Code Red. That's a really good outro to the project. What's another one that just stands out to me? I do think he tries to hit some melodies on this project that kind of just sound fine. They don't sound great. His voice is not really built for melodies. It's more just built for like nice flows and nice, what's the word, like rhyme schemes and such. Which there are some nice flows in here that he flows pretty good most of the album. What else do I got here on my notes? Where's it at? Oh, the beat switch on CS Now. It's not really a beat switch. It's more of like a beat slight like development in the second half of the song is pretty good, and I like that one. That's another standout song. Get It, like I said, it does get a little repetitive. I do. Rich's voice is one of his best qualities. I love Rich Amiri's voice. It sounds like it's so unique, and he manages to use it in a good way. Just rapping the flows that he uses, the rhyme schemes he has, the way he kind of differentiates it a little bit, but not too much to where it doesn't sound like him. I think he's able to do that very, very well. The only song on here that I just think is not that good is Brick by Brick. Is it called Brick by Brick? Just Brick Brick. Brick Brick is not that good of a song. But it also doesn't benefit that it's in that little three-peat that I was talking about in that mode, Never Have I and Brick Brick. Those three kind of, they get like, Never Have I is like, okay, I've kind of, he's been doing this a little, it's just another one of those. And then Never Have I, no, and then Brick Brick is right in that. Or no, sorry, I'm stupid. In that mode is what I'm talking about. In that mode, he's kind of like that, and then you get to Never God, Never Have I, and then right after that's Brick Brick, and these are three kind of like the same ish songs here and there. So it gets a little annoying. Not annoying, it gets a little repetitive. I start to lose my attention. Code Red is a very solid album, or album outro. And I have to say, 16 songs, only 35 minutes. This album does fly by, kind of. It does feel a little longer than 35 minutes whenever you're listening to it. But then you go back and look, I mean, there's a few songs in here that are not even 2 minutes. If I'm not mistaken, Homesick isn't 2 minutes. Flexin' Finessin' isn't 2 minutes. I don't think that there's a single track on this album that's above three. There might be one or two. I think Code Red might actually be above three. You know what? I can actually look. Hold on. Hold on. It is above three. It's like, yeah, 3 minutes and 5 seconds. So, like, and you know what? That's about probably the max that a Rich Amiri song should be. Because he's not, like I said, he's not the most lyrical guy. He's not going to tell you a story. There are some good, like, lines here, some good wordplay here and there across the project. But overall, I think it is very solid for what it is. It's Rich Amiri. You don't come to Rich Amiri for a lyrical complexion. You come to Rich Amiri for a good time, a fun time. Kind of, honestly, the same type of vibe I find comparable to Uzi almost, where, like, you know what you're going to Uzi for because he's elite at it. I don't think Rich Amiri is elite at this type of niche yet, but he's getting there. I think this is pretty good. This is pretty solid. I think I like War Ready a little bit more. I think a lot more. I think more songs were more replayable on War Ready. I mean, you've got that song with Internet Money. You've got, I think that is the song with Internet Money called Keep It Cool. I'm going to look. I mean, Amiri Trendsetter, besides Osama Song's good. Count My Band, Same Old Me, Keep It Cool. Like, dude, bangers. Those are all bangers. I love all those songs. And, I come back to other songs on War Radio a lot. That's why I was thinking about buying the vinyl. I might go see if that's still purchasable. I like the cover. And honestly, I like the Grit and Grace title. I think that actually works because, you've got the chiller songs. It could be like the Grace side, and then the grittiers like In and Out or Lights Out. Two kind of like two sides of them. I don't know if that's the intention of the name at all. I mean, it's Rich Amiri. I don't think there was too much depth in that. You know what I mean? If there was, I'm wrong, but I don't think so. Overall, I want to give this a 7 out of 10. I think that's pretty solid for Rich Amiri. You've got good beats. You've got a good time. You've got good flows. You've got hard songs. Just go in, take what you get, and enjoy it. There's a lot to enjoy here. It's not too long. Literally 30 minutes. You could like listen to this on a ride to work and have a good ride to work. Get a little woke up if it's early, or have a good time going home. You know what I mean? It's one of those type of albums. I enjoy this. I like tuning into new Rich Amiri releases. Can't wait for the next one just to see how he evolves in this niche of sound. Subscribe, hit the like button.